Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is me. I screwed that intro up as soon as I opened my mouth. I don't got no excuses there. This is Queen at Arms Part 12, where it's a long game. And I'm saying this because pretty much every part, or a lot of parts in this game, I've made of this game is 45 minutes long. That's a long part, and the reason for that is because I get so caught up in it. I don't know what to do. Like, I've been playing this for hours now, and I can't. I just can't. It's too good. Man. Alright, when the funeral was over, my brother grabbed me by the arm and pulled me aside. Well, what are you gonna do about that? About what, Nick? Those men, they were talking during the rites. They weren't being conspiracious about it. That doesn't matter, it's disrespectful. And what do you want me to do about them? I'm not gonna crack the whip just because they're elevating boredom. Those men earned our respect when they died. There should be complete silence to ensure they don't become confused as the ashes take them to Althea. I think you may be overreacting. Do you know who we lost? Of course, about 40% of the troops, more or less. Who we lost, not how many. I wasn't ready to answer that. I didn't exactly know all of the soldiers' names. There were just so many I was in charge of. You don't know, do you? Althea, what is this war doing to you? How could you be so flippant about death? I would have had a retort, but Nick looked so worried I wasn't entirely certain I could answer him. When had I become so flippant? What had this war done to me? What would my state of my soul be if I passed here? Would Althea even allow me into her embrace? I couldn't have been the only one of these sort of thoughts. Would it be a good idea to eschew any doubts with the men? Though it may be better if I tried to sort these questions out for myself first. Who should I speak about this? Our dear little Rubriz. He may be more familiar with matters of magic than matters of soul, but he was a smart man. And I might get the unique answer about the way Althea would handle our souls from someone removed from our free and religion. After the scouts informed me Archmagus Rubriz was out looking for virgins, it wasn't that difficult to find him. He wasn't particularly adept at covering his own tracks. Ah, good. Soldier, I need you to climb this tree and fetch something from... He hadn't been looking at me when he started talking, but when he stopped, he turned his head. Oh, Commander, I thought you were another scout to come check on me. No. Though I wish you'd bring scouts with you before wander off to collect your flora. They trample on the important plants. It's like bringing a rooting stag into an antique shop. Perhaps if you took the time to explain to them which of the plants were important, Archmagus. They are all important. The Archmagus took some offense to my words and showed him the sneer that had his lips nearly crawled up to his nose. Climb this tree, would you? Why don't you climb it? I don't have the body strength or dexterity. I need a cluster of seeds that haven't fallen yet. There'll be green leathery orbs on the tips of the branches. That doesn't sound very safe. Why don't you just use magic to get them down? Magic is not an infinite force, Commander. If you don't want me to drain heavily on the soldiers, then I can't continue to use it for mundane tasks like this one. Does it need to be all of the soldiers? You could just draw on yourself. Only a fool uses his own soul to fuel his magic. Then draw from me, because I'm not going to risk injury. Mine, yours, or even a scout's on fetching seeds from a tree that would break before holding the weight. Fine, then with your permission, I suppose I'll ask the wind to carry the seeds down. Holy shit! The Archmagus Rubriz stepped up to me, grabbed me at the waist and pulled my body against his face drew close to mine. As he looked into my eyes, I could feel my flesh. And as he looked into my eyes, I could feel myself flush. My heart quickened, and for a moment I was absolutely lost in the man's gaze. He said some arcane words that I didn't quite hear, and the breeze picked up around us. Then he let go suddenly, almost pushing me back, and watched as the tree shook from the force of the wind beating against it until something fell from its branches. Archmagus moved to pick up as I gathered myself. Perfect. We will need these for my seed plan. I will give you more details in the meeting tonight. Why did you say that? What do you mean? We still have the meeting, aren't we? I meant about the soul. You said only a fool uses their own to fuel their magic. Because a fool does. If you draw from yourself, you become too weak to control the replies to your requests from the elements. You cannot ask fire to burn for you and expect it to do it so quietly. That's disrespectful to the very nature of fire itself. What happens to the soul when you use it in this way? I know you've said that we gather from the energy around... that's me. When you use it this way, I've noticed that gather around here what you've taken, but I mean the soul itself, the very core that travels to Althea. The archmagus had a reply to me, but he refrained from giving it. Instead he paused and gave his answer more thought. The soul isn't a singularly intact construct. It's an amalgamation of the world around it. What you think of the soul is actually the mind, which uses resources the soul provides. So, then it's the mind that travels to Althea. There aren't really questions I'm educated to answer. Perhaps you should go to Prelate Lucius. I don't want the Prelate's answers. I want yours. I cannot give them to you, Commander. Why not? Are you afraid they'll offend me somehow because they don't align how I taught to think about these things? No, they're just not answers that can be given away. They must be earned, and I do not have the time to make you earn them. Perhaps when this war finished you can come to me again, Commander. If that's how you feel. How I feel doesn't play into this matter. Will you be escorting me while I gather more items, or are you due back in the camp? Since the archmagus was intent on ending this conversation, I'll let him. I will be returning to camp, though I would prefer if you could take at least one soldier with you on these executions. If the enemy were to take you, we'd be absolutely lost. Your magic is a great boon to our efforts. I will keep that in mind. Now off of you before you're missed. He waved me away, and so I left, now with more questions than when I started. I started back towards the center of the camp. Though I still had yet to find any real resolution to the questions and worries I had, someone needed to speak with the troops. They had been distracted and chattering during the funeral rites, but it was likely they had no other way to persist the loss of their comrades. But who did we lose? Did we lose someone we know? We probably did. Fuck. But if we were to keep going, they needed to know that their interests were being looked out for. Surely some of them had the same questions I did. Not far from my tent, I found a group of soldiers sitting together eating, 3 Arthurians and a Solguardian. I had seen the same men bickering only days prior. There was little talking going on, and they hardly looked at each other either. Good day. One of the Arthurians gave me a sullen look. The others didn't seem to notice my greeting, or else they didn't care. Morning, sir. Mind if I sit? The soldiers just shrugged. I sat down on one of the down logs they were using as a bench. I let out a sigh. What was I supposed to say to them? I didn't have the answers myself. Yesterday was... well, it was. I wish there was something I could say about it. You for one, all the others should know that you can come to me if there's anything you want to say. Is there anything you want to say, any of you? Not in particular, sir. We lost some good men out there. That's true. Some very good men indeed. More than I can count. Listen, I'll be frank. What I really want to know if any of you are afraid of death, what happens after. Don't feel you have to keep anything to yourself. The soldier scoffed. Of course we're afraid. Who wouldn't be? Another piped up. I'm not afraid. Shut up. You know you are. We're all gonna die here. I made peace with my life long time ago. Althea's gonna be my new mistress. Ha! What if Althea didn't come for you? What will you do? Why wouldn't she? I don't know. But it feels it's alright to have one's doubts. I know I have mine. I understand that I should sit here and tell you that everything will be alright and that we'll keep up the good fight and nothing will break us down. That we will all return home safe. But I can't promise this. That isn't fair. We've almost reached the capital and we've weakened the Queen's army, but that only means we'll be on their guard, so we can't afford to forfeit caution now. If we keep sharp, we remain prepared, and there's a chance that we may make it out of this in one piece, all of us. And I hate to say it, but that fear we all have, I think it's what helps us stay alert. We just have to remember that fear is only a feeling from inside ourselves. We should respect it, but it isn't something false. If we allow it to overtake us, then we lose. I'm sorry. I know I don't know if that's what you wanted to hear. I guess what I mean to say is, it's okay to be afraid. You should be afraid. It keeps us strong. But don't let the fear stop you from doing what you need to survive. I'm here for all of you. It's my job to keep everyone safe, to keep us all alive. So, if you ever need to, just come to me, alright? From somewhere there was a half-hearted clapping of hands. I looked up. Before I knew it, a crowd had gathered around us. A couple of dozen men stood around us, listening. I stood from the log and brushed off my pants. The same goes for all of you. I'm your commander. I want you to feel safe, confiding in me. Oh! We have one last challenge ahead of us, but I believe. No, I know we can make it through. Let's end this war and get back to the ones we love. I put on a smile to assure them of my confidence, though I didn't feel it inside. If those words had come from anyone but me, I may have felt confident. But because I was the one speaking, someone whom I knew to be uncertain, how was I to trust in encouragement? For everyone's sake, I would have to. Man. We're just a girl. We're just a girl whose father died. And we wanted to find our brother so we could save him. We didn't want any of this. God damn it. Fuck. Can I just flee with Rubriz and live happily ever after or something? Well, I wished I had more time to sit with my thoughts. The day was pressing on, and although one battle was over, we still had a war to attend to. As morning turned to afternoon, the king called it as was the tent. That includes me, of course. Commander, I can't say I liked how coldly he was addressing me. Yeah, what the fuck? It's all your fault that they're dead. You hear me? Nick was already there, but he stood away from the others as James and Rubriz stood at the table with the king. Lucius, however, was nowhere to be found. We've weakened the Solguardians, but another task lies ahead of you. The wall of Cillian are strong and the queen is no fool. She'll be waiting for us. You don't think she'll speak to us now? They must be as tired as we are. No one wants to see another fight. He shook his head. Queen Charlotte is stubborn. She will fight us till the last until we bring her down first. He spread out a particular map on the table. It showed a city with a palace inside and thick walls surrounding. In the corner, the name Cillian was penned. As now, there is only one gate into the capital. He pointed to one marking at the end of the Goddess Road. The paranoid old bat had the others walled over some time ago. If she's that worried, won't she have barred the gates when we arrive? Yes. I stared closely at the map, tracing my fingers along the marked walls. Surely there was no other entrance as no alternative path. Only fixed stone walls. Okay, listen here. Me and Rubriz, we're gonna go in and we're gonna climb over the wall with help of Rubriz magic, and we're gonna open the gate from the inside. Can we do that? I think and if not, then Rubriz uses his magic to like poof, and then we can like get in. How's that sound? It's impenetrable. It certainly would seem that way. That's why I leave it in your hands. Oh my god! I nodded. The other two were already studying the map. James was the first to speak up. What is it? Just me thinking. We have quite a bit of black powder left. The walls are strong. I bet we could blast right through them, or at least weaken them. Or even better, we could get underneath the walls. Why is it always the first thing you go to? What? Explosions. It's always some big fanfare with you. Blast down the walls. We build a catapult the size of a house. Bigger. For a man who prides himself on his intelligence, you have quite the one-track mind. Now, hang on there, Rubriz. I thought you'd be thrilled for a plan like that, mister. Look at me while I shoot fire from my fingertips. If anything, you're the showy one. You're kind of crazy. I'm sorry, James. In a good way, but you're crazy. Besides, between my devices and your magic, we could have those walls down in an hour flat. Yeah, sorry, excuse me. I had to take a break. Magic is not some parlor trick you can whip out every time you want to create a display. Well, excuse me if I wanted me. That sounded incredibly sassy. Sassy James. I'd like that. If I want to get through this in the way that's the most efficient, and what precisely is efficient, and what precisely is efficient about. I smacked my hand down on the table to cut them off. There was no more time to spare on petty disputes. Enough, James. We will keep that on the table. Rubriz, what do you suggest? Neither of them seemed happy about compromising. As you know, I would prefer a more subtle approach. James scoffed, and though I glared to silence him, I was inclined to agree. The archmagus hadn't made himself known for his subtlety. If the Soul Guardians are prepared for us, then they are likely prepared to encounter any assault we make on them. It will take more than a force to bring them down. Right, so we need to make some... Oh, we go into the palace and we hold a knife to the throat of the... We dress up as a girl and we go... This is brilliant. Don't we? Precisely. If we can subvert that preparation somehow, maybe we can get them without kicking any doors. He flashed a taunting look at James. We could divert the path of the wind, perhaps. If you block the flow of air into the city walls, it will grow stagnant inside. Without fresh air for a time, it can be difficult to function. Men lose their will, germs breed, stores spoil. Alistair's eyes flashed with something. Approval? No, he's flashing with absolute evilness. No. Or instead, we can ask the wind to blow more harshly upon them. If a storm falls upon them, they will be weakened. Yes, but there is nothing at all showy about bringing down a damned hurricane on them. James, thank you, Commander. If we were to get through their defenses without wasting resources, we must be elegant in what we plans we choose to enact, and reserve our strength for when we truly need it. Oh, we could just talk to them. Finally! Fucking finally! We turned our heads with a collective start. Even I had forgotten Nick was present. Rather than try to force our way in, I don't see why we can't be diplomatic. Respectfully, Your Highness, you know the Queen. You know how to speak with her. And Alex, you have a way with words. With two speakers as skilled as you and His Highness, surely Queen Charlotte will have to listen. That sounds like a good idea in theory, Nick, but there's no guarantee she will even want to speak with us. If she did, she would have invited us to do by now. What about their commander? You've spoken with her before. I don't think she wants to continue with this fight any more than we do. Nick, what? I'm all for talking things out as well, but I don't think it's time for us to talk anymore. Haven't we lost enough of our guys to just waiting around? We lose even more by pushing violence. We've been trying that so far, and look where it's gotten us. As far as I can tell, talking with the enemy is the only thing we haven't tried. They're people just like us. Finally! Fucking finally! They aren't beasts, they're Soul Guardians. Nick turned to me, expecting a reply. Over the course of this war, I had doubted a lot of the decisions made, and following my gut, it was probably got me into my position, but for once, I agreed. No, my assistant commander is right about this. We have already lost too many on both sides. We can't keep regarding the Soul Guardians as if there's something to be separated from ourselves that we won't even consider speaking to them. If we keep cutting them down like weeds, what does that make us? We don't have the right to decide who dies. I'm certain by now that Queen Charlotte has no interest in losing any more of her people to this. The Queen is headstrong. She will continue to oppose us. You don't know! Do you truly believe that she will agree to parley without having something up her sleeve? I do, Your Highness, and I know that even if she tries to stab us in the back, we have the forces put her down for good. She must know that by now herself. The king leaned back and crossed his arm, with a frown that could only remind me of his father upon his face. Perhaps you're fighting... God damn it. Alistair, god damn it. Fucking stab him, somebody. Okay, don't do that, but god damn it. Perhaps you're finding yourself swayed by loyalty to your former land commander. I shook my head. Loyalty, I know I was tired of seeing those around me hurt in pointless fighting. I only care about the safety of our soldiers. Even if there is no hope of victory, I believe the Queen will still fight us if we attack her. However, we are now in a position of strength. She would need to be completely deaf not to listen to us now. I noticed Nick looking fretfully between the king and myself, biting his lips. Poor decisions, or no, he hadn't. I had the sense not to try and badger the king like this. Well, Commander, while I sincerely doubt the Queen is in a man to negotiate with us, if you feel that strongly, then you have my permission to orchestrate a meeting. Just be aware that, should this sour, I rest the blame solely on your shoulders. Yeah, we're used to that. I understand, Your Highness. I take full responsibility. Very well, then. We are decided. You are dismissed, Commander. I shall speak with you later. I nodded and bowed to the king and followed the others out of the tent. I hoped that Nick was right and the Queen would see reason. Your gut is good. Until now, your gut has been right. As everyone went to their respective tents, I found myself alone. The evening was a cold one. It wouldn't be smart to stay out here long. Eventually, I wandered back into my tent. By the time I was completely alone with my thoughts, I recognized this piece. It's Kevin MacLeod. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I found that they kept wandering back to various conversations of the morning. Had I told? Or is it? I don't know. As I told the soldiers, I was having doubt about our passage beyond death, and the more I thought about it, the more I was concerned about what would happen to them and myself should the worst things happen. I was frightened. Rubriz still owed me some explanations, and I wasn't going to let him deter me from getting him, not when my curiosity was raised. Commander, what brings you? Finally, we're getting on his path without having to make choices. That's a good thing. I wanted to continue where we left off this morning. What you said about the soul. What did you mean? He let out a deep sigh. If you're set on having this conversation, I suppose there is little I can do to deter you. Deter you? Whatever. There is much to explain. Could you try to be brief? Do you wish to rush the truth? I don't. Sorry. Go ahead. Before I proceed, I expect a vow from you. No matter what I say, you must not react poorly. Remember that you hear my words of your own choosing. I wouldn't imagine what he would tell me to be so serious as to warrant a severe reaction, but I nodded. I promise. Good. What you know about the soul is entirely fake. The soul is no singular entity, and after you pass away, it travels nowhere. It merely dissipates. Well, that's a lot to hear. If you cannot handle it, we will stop. No, I want to hear this. Do you really believe that to be true? I do, for reasons that I cannot even say. What you define as the mind is but the part of ourselves that experience the world. It is nothing more than a collection of innate and environmental traits that define our behavior. But if we have no soul and no mind, which part of us is us? That would be the core, the small center of yourself that lies at the very base of what you call the soul. Are you seriously saying that it's like a heart? Your soul begins as a merely small entity. Over the course of your life it grows, drawing all the world around it from outside in. As a natural course, your soul gains and regains energy. As long as you live a healthy and simple life. When the energy is drained from you, such as when you use magic without replenishing yourself, your soul diminishes. If you were to drain yourself all that way, the core would be all that remained. That small part is what that truly defines you. Neither of us said anything, and I thought about what I've been told. My head was spinning. Such a small part really matters that much. More than anything else can. With one's core intact, you are who you are. Without it, you're simply a sacked, flack-filled forward parts. Have I said too much for you? No, it's just a lot to think about. I've always thought of human lives just as one part. But here, why don't you come and sit? I took a seat on the pair of short stools beside a low table. It should have been shocking that Rubiz's belongings were still so well put together after so much transport, but I'd passed the point of being shocked at him. I have to. He turned his back for several moments before returning with a small box which he set on the table before us. taking a seat as he did, his cloak settled perfect behind him. Watching someone so large move with such grace took the breath out of me. It was because of the magic, surely. Surely. He opened the latch on the box and swung open the lid and put his hand flat on the table. What do you see inside? I pulled the box closer and looked inside. There was a badly wilted flower with a limp stem and petals that were starting to brown. Oh, Rubriz, that flower. I thought you threw it away. Even though its existence is futile now, I couldn't bring myself to. I placed so much hope into it for such a long while. After all, it did contain her heart. I remembered then what he said of his mentor, the one he lost. My stomach turned. And by her heart, do you mean her core, the core of her soul? His eyes widened, as though he hadn't expected me to guess. The conclusion only followed from everything I knew. The value Rubriz placed in something as insignificant as a flower. The deep value that was the core of the soul. His expression shifted to hurt. Without thinking, I placed my hand onto his for comfort. Yes, she lost her life during the deposition of King Farmand. A chill ran down my spine. He and I had the same source of loss. I wanted to tell him badly, but I could not. Her magic was strong, and she was resourceful. She bound herself to this blossom. These petals held the core of her soul, the last minimal strain of lusk energy that defined her. I thought foolishly that if I cared... Wait! God damn it! Damn it, sorry, someone came to see me. I thought foolishly that if I cared for this flower and kept it thriving, that I could preserve her. And perhaps, one day... He cringed, his fingers curled beneath mine. It was a fool's errand. I don't know how I was meant to restore her to life, when I could not maintain the task of preserving a single flower. I squeezed my fingers around his as the best I could. His hands were so much larger than mine. They were cold, but warm. I think you're being too hard on yourself. Am I? Some might venture I am very rarely critical enough. You know what I mean. You did everything you could, even if you failed. I'm sure that if your mentor was a good person, she would appreciate everything you tried for her. More likely, she would have scolded me for wasting so long on an experiment with no visible outcome, but that was who she was. As he spoke of her, a fond smile drifted onto his face. His fingers relaxed. Rubriz, can I ask, did you love her? I don't know. Romantic love, if I assume your meaning, is a concept I find difficult. But yes, I cared for her deeply. The three of us were close when we left Alabasta. It was not until we touched the shores of Lavinia that we began to drift apart. Still, I doubt Adamas would have done all that I did for her. He turned his hand so that our fingertips touched and gripped mine in return. You remind me so much of her. Your soul is such a bright one. It's the reason the soldiers trust you, the reason so many care for you. Their cause cannot help but be joined to yours. His voice felt low. Suddenly, he was leaning across the small table with his face close to mine, his eyes narrowed and his lips near, so that I could feel each of his exhales warm on my cheeks. He pulled back so that our eyes met. Commander, may I? I nodded. Our lips joined, and I felt a spark between them. Something not electric, not quite like fire. I knew what the feeling was. Magic. I reached up to grip his arm, and he held on to mine. It felt like years passed before we parted. Thank you. He breathed the words like a little sigh of relief, his eyes so often piercing was softer than I've ever seen. To be frank, you found me at a weak moment. In order to draw energy from another in the most effective way, your partner must be willing. I've been so wrapped up in the assault on Silgard that there had been no time for me to replenish my store as usual. Oh. That was... Oh my god, just to draw from my energy then. Yes, it was one means of tapping from it. Would ask more of you, but I don't wish to put you in an awkward situation. Unless that is something you desire. I pulled my hands away and sat back on my chair. Did I want more of him? Perhaps. It was so long since I'd been so vaguely intimate with another. Oh my god, I gotta stop it. Give me a sec. Excuse me. Had to go scream somewhere. Did I want more of him? Perhaps it was so long since I'd been vaguely intimate with anyone. We were at war. And this was someone I held power over, if only by title. Not to mention the most obvious problem. I'm sorry, I don't know. I have no pointers over with that. You've much on your mind. They're off a stand, should you ever decide it. Thank you, I suppose. I should probably be leaving now. Yes, you must be wary. I will see you in the morning, Commander. Yes. Please get some rest. I will try. I stood and excused myself from the tent. Oh, Rubriz, why did you do that? Why did you do that? I didn't want to kiss you because Angie, I want to kiss you kiss you. I thought we were gonna be all lovey-dovey and kissy together. And then, oh no, I'm so sad now. As much as I tried to sleep, I couldn't seem to keep my eyes shut for more than a minute. Yeah, it didn't really help. Every time I began slipping towards unconscious, I would see flashes of steam, or hear cries that weren't there. Nick, on his side of the tent, was invariably fast asleep, and I didn't have the heart to wake him just to tend to my nightmares. I slipped back into my uniform and pulled a blanket over my shoulders to fend off the growing cold, and stepped out into the camp. Judging by the moon, it was nearly midnight. It was unreasonable to expect that anyone would be around to talk, so I wandered with my thoughts. If our hold on the world was really so weak, what did it matter if we perished? The world was constantly recycling itself, and we were only parts within the cycle. I began to feel very small and very alone. Rubriz was the one who would understand what I was feeling right now. At the very least, he would know what I was talking about. More to the point, I couldn't stop thinking about what he had asked me. The strange thing about Rubriz was he always appeared to be exactly as I left him. We walked in again, but this time I poked my head into the attempt to find him sitting on the bed, with a large book on his lap. He must have been truly tired not to stand up for his reading, as he usually seemed to. Rubriz, can I come in? He didn't bother to look up from his book. You may. What is it, Commander? I just wanted to talk to you as a friend. As a friend, Commander. Please, call me Alex. All right, Alex, what brings you here so late? I'm sorry to bother you. I couldn't sleep. It's no bother at all. He smiled, but it was a very tired smile. What are you reading? Nothing of importance, just an outdated manual from someone who understands very little of the arcane. I can always stand to appreciate good comedy. Would you care to sit beside me? You appear frigid. That's a strange way to put it, but yes, I would. I sat down next to him on the edge of the bed. Despite his good humor, I could see up close that he looked a bit ragged in the face, which was unusual for someone of his poise. I looked over at the book, but I couldn't find anything else slightly amusing on the page. So, what were you going to tell me? What? What you wish to talk about? Oh, I've just been thinking. About what? A lot of things. Mainly what you said, that thing about souls. I don't know, it's just, I believe you, or I want to, but it's so far off from everything I've been taught, it's hard to accept. Well, you're handling it better than the prelate. He was patently uninterested in hearing what I had to say to him. Oh, so that's what happened. You mean Lucius? Is that why the two of you were bickering? I can only assume. He refused to tell me what was wrong. He refused to speak to me at all. I merely told him what I told you. I didn't appreciate that being caused to give me the cold shoulder. Oh, how dense of him. He was an intelligent man, but didn't like a lack of tact. I guess I've never been all that attached to my beliefs, so it's not hard for me to think about something different. But Lucius has been in the church all his life, hasn't he? What the church teaches is all he knows. Teaches is all he knows. That has to be hard for him to go against, don't you think? As much as I loathe to think him so stubborn, I suppose you're right. I apologize if I made you feel burdened. In truth, it's a relief for me to have someone to share this knowledge with. It isn't as though I enjoy maintaining an aura of mystery. You don't? Well, I had my doubts about that. I understood the feeling. Secrets could be nothing but burdens. I'm sure you believe me incapable of feeling. I know the rumors that bloom around me. I am alone in in many things, and if I easily find favors with favors. You and the prelate are the only ones I've ever spoken to in this way, in quite a while. Mind you, this is not a ploy for pity. These are only the spilled words of a tired soul. I rather enjoy my solitude. Oh wow! Before I knew it, Rubriz was leaning closer to me. I could feel the warmth of his body and caught the faint smell of herbs on the fringe of his cloak. One of his locks of long hair fell onto my shoulder. Rubriz, you know, there's truly no one else like you, Alex. It is truly a comfort to be near you. There was some unexpected hurt on his face. Perhaps that was the way he looked when he was worn down. I felt guilty for barging in on him, for making him humour me when he was also clearly in such a vulnerable state. Was it right for me to even be here? At the same time, I didn't want to leave him alone. My heart began to race. I want to do what's best for Rubriz. What would that be? Stay with him. I started closer unto him until our legs were touching. Are you cold? A little, but that's not it. I want to help you. Would it help if I lent you more magic? He placed a ribbon into the seam of the book and shut it and placed it on the bed. To his side, he brushed his hair behind his ear and leaned down. His elegant fingers touched my face. I hoped he couldn't feel my brief trembling. I knew my body was reacting to the touch, and the smell of him, the sound of his voice. I had not realized until that moment how thoroughly attractive I found him, and now that I did, I had no idea what to think. I did actually know he was attractive. Excuse me. Little voice of Nana. And now I'm gonna back out again and let the two of you have your little moment, and I'm just gonna read it out loud. Was my heart pounding from excitement or fear? A transfer of magic is only worthwhile when the giver truly wishes to give. I don't want to take it for you because you feel sorry for me, and if that's the reason, don't. My strength will return soon. That's not what it is. I genuinely want to help, but I need to know something. Do you like me? Even if I thought you unlikable. If I thought you unlikable, I would have asked you to leave. No. What I mean is, do you only like to be around me because of the energy I have? It's terrible of me to ask, but I need to know now. Oh, I assumed you were aware of how I felt. What do you mean? I would have thought my feelings were obvious. For you were obvious. I've done little to disguise them. I haven't noticed anything. What are you saying, Rubriz? I'm saying I choose to linger in your presence because I wish to. Your soul is a comfort to experience, but if you were an insufferable person, I would not be mincing words. I enjoy your company. Is that clear enough for you? I felt the blood rise to my cheeks. Goddess, it was intoxicating just being near him. Yes. I shifted my weight onto the bed to be nearer, and before I knew it, I had kissed him. The same familiar mixture of lightning and heat arched between us. Is that alright? I can only wish for more. What is it that you wish for? You just gotta know it, girl. And it's gonna be a little awkward, but we can do it. We can do it. Go, we can do it. Let's go. Okay, this is gonna go bad. I think I'm just no, I can't end the episode here. Goddess, no. Without the words to express what I wanted, all I could do was kiss him again, deeper this time. I pressed my hands up against his neck to pull him closer, his hair tangled in my fingers like silk. Only the smallest worry. Okay, nodding my chest, making me ill to even consider it. I drew back and caught my breath. Tell me you aren't doing this because you feel an obligation. If I, as your commander, gave you the order to kiss me, would you? Rubriz chuckled, and I could feel it resonating from his chest. He brushed his lips against the ear and my neck, warming my skin with breath. I'm not one to follow orders, but I will do it anyway. Wait, I broke the kiss as you were about to plan pulling away. If we were going to keep going, it would be readily apparent that I was not what he thought I was. I was going to reveal myself. The time would be now. Before we go any further, there's something you need to know. Are you a virgin? What? No. Well, technically yes, but there's something else you need to know about me. You see, I guess I'll... Okay, here. Okay, are you just going to flash your tits? Okay, I'm sorry for ruining the moment. I took a deep breath. Words could only, fail me. What words could I possibly say to break the silence of a secret that I'd hold on to my whole life? I'm a girl? My only option was to show him. I shook my, arms to feel the binding beneath my skin were already coming loose. But the curve of my chest was still invisible beneath the baggy uniform. Slowly I unbuttoned the top just enough so I could slip my hand in. The sound of blood pooling in my ears was deafening. Oh God! I grasped Rubriz's hand by the wrist and slipped it beneath the flap of my shirt. I diverted my gaze so that I would not have to see his reaction. The pressure of fingers upon my chest felt foreign. Strange. Well, what are you showing me? But don't you feel my chest? I'm female. I know. Ah, I thought he knew! Wait, what? Is that what I meant to tell him? Why wouldn't it be? My face darkened. How long had he known? I didn't have to ask before he answered it himself. I've known it for quite some time. It wasn't that difficult to discern. All the passion I'd felt was now turning into panic. If Rubriz had guessed it so easily, who else had? Were there rumors spread about me? Maybe it was pointless for me to keep it secret all along. The anxiety must have read on my face. He held my hand and squeezed it. I wouldn't worry if I were you. There were few in this army who carried the perceptive skills to notice such things. Many of the soldiers would be unaware if even a Melvia dressed in uniform had made it into the camp. Then why didn't you say anything if you'd known for so long? I assumed you had your reasons for keeping it secret. It was not my place to speak of it. Makes no difference for me either way. Eee, bisexual! I'd already guessed that. It doesn't matter much to him. Love is love. He drew back and smiled and chuckled with the tilt of his head, but the smile soon fell from his face and was replaced by a very serious expression. While we're on the subject, there's perhaps something you ought to know about me. What is it? It's a bit complex, but it's unfair not to inform you as it concerns our potential future. You're aware that I served the court. Oh, don't be our brother, please. Okay, he can't be a brother. We look too different, but still, don't be a brother. Since the reign of King Farmand. Yes, I assumed you were very young then. In some way, I was. But you may have heard a rumor. Oh, you vampire, you Edward old. How long have you been? 26 or something? And we're like, oh God, no, what? All right. I'm gonna end it. I'm sorry about the cliffhanger. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.